Michael Lyons from Recovery Systems and Myren Fu from High Performance. In this topic, we'd like to myth bust ice.
It's such a big thing now, Michael. It's all over the place due to Instagram, especially these two methods, both CrossFit and the Wim Hof method has made popularized this ice recovery method. So a lot of people watch the CrossFit games on Netflix and they just look at the athletes after every event. Where do they go? Into the ice bath. And that's what you hear on the ground, even in Singapore. Hey man, can you bring that ice bath in because it really helps with recovery and all that stuff. I can't tell you how frustrated I am every time I hear that. And let's hear your take before I'm going to put my intake on.
All right, so let's talk about the pluses and minuses of ice. So first of all, I'll start off with the statement that ice delays healing. Ice is for trauma. So what is trauma? Let's say someone twists their ankle or sprains a knee, then ice is appropriate. It's doing two things. It's pain management and it's also controlling internal bleeding. So where ice could be good, or which sports where it would be appropriate, are contact sports. So we work with World Rugby for Rugby World Cup, New Zealand Rugby, Singapore Rugby, and so-called non-collision sports like football where there is incidental collisions, plus fighting sports, MMA, boxing, and so on. So there's quite often trauma in those sports, and ice is totally appropriate for those two reasons, pain management and bleeding control. However, for recovery from general training, ice delays inflammation, and inflammation is the first phase of healing where the body is starting a process to release the right hormonal package to create the healing, recovery, and ultimately what we're looking for is gains.
So the thing about inflammation or breakdown from training, as what we mentioned in the previous episodes, is extremely important for adaptation of the body to get better, to get stronger. Now, with inflammation comes this whole training process of oxidative stress. As long as there's inflammation, oxidative stress is prevalent in the body. It's not a bad thing, but we need to control this oxidative stress. In the event that this oxidative stress is being controlled with controlled training volumes, the inflammation process, what it does, you want to think of it as planets. So currently you are planet Earth. You need more contents. Let's say you need more gold, you need more silver, but you can't. Earth has a finite amount of content. So what does Earth do? It consumes another planet. So to take its contents, right? So the same thing goes with oxidative training. What happens after an inflammation process? The inflammatory process causes this thing called the satellite cell signaling, where actually it eats up the other cell's contents, the dormant cell's contents, and that's where you get myonuclei proliferation. With more myonuclei, that's where you can actually have better regeneration in ATPs and stuff like that.
Yeah, very good description. So generating far more resources. So I can think of a couple of instances where ice is appropriate. So we work with Singapore Sevens and recovering in between, they play 3 games a day, recovering in between those games where there is some incidental contact. Jumping into ice is a good thing, as we discussed, because of the trauma of contact. But also the other benefit is controlling body temperature or bringing core temperature down. So typically the guys will do this for 1 to 2 minutes before then coming over to our tent for compression recovery. So I think that's a totally appropriate use. The other one would be in endurance sports in the heat in regulating core temperature. Example, on the run leg of a half Ironman or a full Ironman, where there's a lot of heat exposure. So using ice in the cooling parts of the body, the back of the neck, over the heart, under the armpits, or even ice down the pants to cool the groin area is a good way of helping to regulate that core temperature. So there's a little summary, some myth busting on ice. We've got a blog topic on that we'll share across both our websites and social media area if you want to do more of a deep dive into ice. But I hope that myth busted for you.